Hello and welcome to another video update from Computershare. I'm Joe Williams and I'm joined as ever by Paul Conn, President of Global Capital Markets. Paul, thanks for joining us again.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me on.
So we've seen a recent increase in online discussion around fractional shares and around plan shares. What do you think is driving that increase?
You know, I'm not completely sure. I have been keeping track of some of the narrative, but I think at the core of it, there is a concern among some investors that if any shares are held in DTC, that must be a bad thing. I'm not sure we subscribe to that point of view, and I'm happy to talk about how the plan is constructed so that we can, create some clarity, some transparency, and remove some of the confusion. So
Sure.
Let's go through it.
Thank you. So can you recap how it works? Can we talk about what percentage is generally held both in and outside of DTC?
Sure. So I think today we have always said that we maintain a portion of the underlying shares within DTC. That's factually true. It was then, it is today. Typically, we would hold somewhere between 10 and 20% of the shares that underpin the plan through our broker at DTC. We've previously confirmed with our broker and notified people through the FAQ that those shares are not available to be loaned. The balance of the shares, the 80 to 90%, sit on the register, also through a Computershare subsidiary, and those two pots, the 10 plus the 90 or the 20 plus the 80, underpin all of the shares that we record in the individual investors' names within the plan. So that's how the reconciliation works. We need to maintain a small portion of the inventory at DTC so that we can have effective settlement when people are selling. But hopefully that clarity will remove some of the confusion about what portion actually is within the system, and the system being the DTC system. And if they're in the DTC system, does that mean they're automatically being lent?
Sure. So yeah, let's be 100% clear. Can DRS shares, whether directly registered or in a plan, be used to cover short sales or loans or be made available to DTC? And what are the options and alternatives that are available to investors?
So the answer to the first part of the question is by virtue of us being a transfer agent, as we've made very, very clear, those shares are not available to be lent. We cannot lend those securities. Investors can transfer the securities. Brokers can access those securities with investors' authority. Shares, the small portion of the shares underpinning the plan that are held within the DTC system, equally are not available to be loaned. That's through an assurance that we have with our broker, and we're satisfied with the assurance that has been given. So that's how the structure works. In terms of choices, look, people have a number of choices as to how they acquire their shares and how they choose to register their shares. People can buy through the plan and hold through the plan. People can buy through the plan, and if they choose to withdraw shares through the plan and put them into what I've called pure DRS, they're perfectly at liberty to do so. If they want to buy through brokers and arrange for their shares to be direct registered, they can do that as well. These are choices that are all available to investors, and they need to just consider their own personal circumstances and all of the costs associated with that from different parties. But I think the question that seems to be circulating about fractional shares are bad and to be avoided, I think, is kind of a mischaracterization of what the problem is, if we can actually indeed agree on what the problem is or what the scale of the problem is. So hopefully my comments are helpful to create some clarity, and if they're not, we'll come back and do another one or do that through a further FAQ.
Paul, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
So remember, you can check out our FAQ page on the direct registration system. The link should come up at the end of this video, and do look out for further updates from Computershare, our social media channels. Thanks very much for watching.